We want to go back to that breaking news we had just a few seconds ago. This is a police chase that's happening in the Southeast Valley. These are live pictures from Sky 12. This all started on surface streets somewhere in the southeast part of the valley, but now you can see that the driver of that gray SUV has taken his car into the desert. So this chase has gone off-road. You can see the police cars off to the top of your screen as they continue this pursuit.
And we've had reports that this driver has been very erratic, speeding at times, going through lights, going through stop signs there, obviously causing some dangerous conditions for other drivers. But as you can see there, he is now off of the main road. All of this happening in the Southeast Valley, but you can see the police helicopter there is illuminating his car. Right now you can see he's coming up on another street there, where some vehicles are being stopped by law enforcement as they continue to pursue this chase. And now it looks like he's headed in the opposite direction. But again, he's on a main street, so putting drivers at risk.
What we're trying to find out right now is why this police chase started, what precipitated it. You're watching this as we're watching it unfold. You can see at least two police vehicles. We believe that Mesa Police is involved in this chase. We don't know if any other agencies have been called in as backup. We don't know if they've put out the stop sticks yet, but that would be a logical next step for police as this driver continues to drive erratically and put people in danger as he tries to evade police.
Right, and you can see an officer not too far behind this vehicle there as they continue to try to at least get him to stop. But you can see oncoming traffic just going by, and so these drivers possibly not aware of what's happening right now. Possibly some maybe are. You can see a few vehicles there pulling off to the side as they encounter this driver here who has not stopped for police. First, again, starting on the surface streets around Ocotillo and Iron Road. He then went off-road into what looked like some desert area and then pulled back onto what looks like a fairly main road here out in the Southeast Valley.
And this would be the second time today, at least, that we've had some sort of a police chase. Earlier tonight, we reported on a box truck that had been driving erratically, hit a couple of cars, and it ended with the driver of that box truck colliding with another car or a truck, flipping over, and then the driver pulling a gun, and he was shot by police, is now in serious condition. So we hope it doesn't end up that way with gunfire, but that's the danger in situations like this. Someone desperate to avoid police drives erratically, puts other cars and trucks in danger. At times, as we've watched this chase, this driver in the silver SUV has taken the car off-road to avoid capture, and at some point he's going to run into major traffic, and then the question becomes, what will he do? Will he take the car off the road again? Here you see him crossing the yellow line. We've seen him do that several times. Will he drive it off-road? What exactly will he do?
And a lot of times, especially when these chases are happening during rush hour, there's a lot of people on the streets, you tend to see some of those officers kind of hold back a little bit, not get too close. A lot of times they'll let the police helicopter do most of the chasing there. But again, we have seen some of those vehicles, those police units get a little bit close. The good thing, though, is that I'm noticing as he does encounter the oncoming traffic, a lot of these cars have already been pulled over. So it tells me that obviously people are aware that something is going on.
In some way, they've been warned either by police pulling them over in advance of this, figuring that this driver in this SUV is on the way. Right now, we're told he's headed west on Germain. So if you live in that area and you know someone who comes home from that area, you may want to get on the phone and call them and warn them ahead of time. Now headed north on Ironwood, so you're following this live police chase as we watch it unfold. This started some 15 to 20 minutes ago, as far as we know, with this driver being pursued, and you can see him driving very erratically, sometimes swerving off-road. He's actually taken it into the desert at times. Right now we have Isabella Maldonado, a law enforcement expert, on the phone with us. And Isabella, thanks for joining us. Are you watching this chase with us?
I am watching it, yes.
What can you tell us, just your first impressions of what you're seeing here?
Well, what I'm seeing here is obviously the driver in the car is driving erratically, as you mentioned. And the situation is that the officers are going to try to come up with ways to stop the vehicle that will not hurt anyone else, and hopefully not the driver either.
And
this is a big challenge for law enforcement.
Right, and what kind of tactics will they use? Because, I mean, you've got innocent people that are just headed home after work or after school, and how do you keep them safe while also catching the suspect?
There are a variety of different tactics that law enforcement will use. If they have a helicopter overhead, which they most likely do in this situation, they can use the radio to deploy what are called stop sticks, which are basically, they will flatten the tires. The only problem is, in order to deploy those, they have to have a good idea of where the car is going to be, and also to not affect other vehicles. And they have a way of doing that so that they can quickly remove them right after the car goes by. That's one method. Another method that they may use is they may try to approach the car. The only problem is if there's any sign that the driver may have weapons, it may not be safe for the officers to approach. But if they can approach, they may try a pit maneuver, but that's very dicey, and that's kind of usually a last resort type of thing.
And you can
and then other times.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can see that he's really starting to take some risks right now. He's passing really closely to vehicles there. And at one moment, it even looked like, his tires caught the dirt there off-road, and he kind of swerved a little bit. So obviously, he's feeling the pressure. He's starting to get desperate. And, I wanted to ask Isabella, when do officers know when to get closer to the suspect or maybe back off because they see that he is starting to get more dangerous?
Yeah, we're all trained in these various techniques, and basically it's almost like every situation is unique, and the officers are trained to evaluate each situation on its own merits. There are generalized pursuit guidelines that every agency follows, but each individual pursuit is its own particular thing. So an officer will weigh various factors. For example, what is the amount of traffic on the roadway? What are the driving conditions on the roadway? Is it wet? What is the visibility? Is it dark? Is it getting darker? How is that affecting the visibility? How fast is the car going? What kind of risks is the driver taking? It does look like he's becoming increasingly desperate. Those are all factors that will weigh into the officer's decision in what kind of action to take.
And Isabella, as they continue this pursuit, is it likely, and we see him swerving both to the right and left lanes. We've seen him, for those of you just joining us, this is a chase that's going on in the southeast part of the valley. Will they try, as they continue this pursuit, to funnel him into an area where they can either perform that pit maneuver or deploy the stop sticks, or will they let him dictate where this chase goes?
They will try to funnel him if they can. They can do things like close off exit ramps or close off portions of the freeway. And so if they can get ahead of the situation, they will often try to do that. But drivers can be very unpredictable, and sometimes they'll go through situations where you've tried to funnel them. But yes, we do try to control as much of the scene as we can.
The good news is right now he is not in a heavy traffic area, so it doesn't appear that he's putting other cars in danger, but here he comes through an intersection and all of a sudden we see more cars.
Right, so and he's getting very close to the US 60 at Ironwood.
Right, and so once he gets on the 60, then we're going to be talking about much more traffic, and it becomes a whole new ball game.
Right, if you're just joining us, we have been following this high-speed police chase that started on surface streets in the Mesa area near Ocotillo and Ironwood. A driver going erratically, getting off-road at times, running through stoplights, running through street lights, sometimes getting in the center medians, almost nearly sideswiping some vehicles there. And we are continuing to monitor this. We don't know much about the suspect, why he is on the run, who is in the car, who is driving the car. But obviously, he's been taking some pretty high risks there with innocent drivers. Right now, it looks like he's slowing down, possibly coming
up to an intersection, and he's making a U-turn So now he's going to head back the other way because you could see that police presence in the intersection. So what does he do? He turns around and heads the other way. And maybe, Isabella, this is where they can start to box him in because all the police vehicles are now making U-turns as well. You can see the police helicopter searchlight keeping an eye on this guy. I don't think they're going to let him get away. It's just a question of how it ends and when it ends.
That was good, and as you see, that was an excellent maneuver on the part of the police there. And you see, they are controlling the situation as best they can. Another thing you mentioned earlier, I heard Caribe talking about we do not know who the person is. Well, that's another thing that can be going on in this situation. Sometimes in the background, we do have the opportunity. We can run the license plate, figure out who the driver is, and there have been times where law enforcement have been able to reach out to the driver. Or at least know who the driver is and what may be going on with him. There can be that's going on in the background. The immediate cars that are pursuing him may or may not be directly involved with any of that, but they can get information fed to them that may provide information about where this driver is. I say he. I'm not sure if it's a woman or a man, but
right.
Just in general.
Isabella, I just want to pass on to our producer Casey. If you can let us know what road he turned onto, so we can. Possibly Guadalupe, we're told, but we'll try to confirm that as soon as we can. But we continue to watch this police chase. Isabella Maldonado is on the phone with us, a law enforcement expert, and he's turning right now. We're going to.
It looks very residential.
Some sort of a residential crashes into the fence, and this may be where this comes to an end. It's some sort of a subdivision, perhaps an industrial area. He's going to crash through that back fence, takes it down, and we may be close to seeing this come to an end because now his car is crashing into various obstacles and he's coming up to a wash. But he does have an SUV, but it's going to be tougher going as he heads through all of that vegetation in that wash.
Yeah, and we're being told that he's about to get stuck in this wash here. You can see
right
there he goes.
Okay, our producers are watching this on a delay, so they've seen it as the driver bails out right now.
Yep, two people, looks like.
They're on the run right now, on the run.
In opposite directions.
Police spotlight on the driver. The other person in the passenger seat took off the other way. And this guy is not going to get very far because now he's on foot.
No.
And
he's
police.
in the dark, in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, and so at any moment, I would fully expect to see police converging on this guy for him to take a knee, put his hands behind his head, and this will be over.
Now we're being told that the two suspects are coming back together. Looks like they are, they're embracing.
Could be a couple of some sort.
They know that
boyfriend
their
and
time
girlfriend,
is up.
husband and wife. This chase is effectively over. They've bailed out of their car. They're back together. Police searchlight on them, and now our job is to find out exactly what precipitated this police chase, what they did to initiate it. You can see that both suspects are now laying down as commanded on their stomachs, and they will be put in cuffs, and that will be it. And as 12 News at 6 continues and we move forward, we'll work with the agencies involved here, as you can see the cuffing taking place, to find out exactly what these people did to initiate this chase.
But the good news is that as far as we could see during the chase, it didn't look like any innocent bystanders were injured as these two suspects tried to get away from law enforcement. But obviously you can see coming to an end in a very peaceful way.
And Isabella, thank you so much for your insight. Any takeaways from this? I mean, from our eyes, and you would know better, but this seemed like very, very good police work.
This was excellent on the part of the police department. Did a fantastic job. And just the only takeaway is do not try to run because it's not going to end well and you're not going to get away. There's no hope.
Well, that's certainly the case here. Isabella Maldonado, law enforcement expert for 12 News. Thank you so much for your insight. All of this unfolding for you and for our viewers live on TV from Sky 12. This chase has come to an end. Thankfully, as Caribe mentioned, no one, as far as we know, was hurt. And hopefully, before the end of this broadcast, we'll be able to tell you exactly why they were being pursued. And we'll be back with more of 12 News at 6 right after this.